Would anybody like to recap from last week? Anybody that's not Trent, because he really doesn't want to do it.
I mean, I was a little bit late to the game because I was in Texas. But we pretty much, I'm not sure how we got there, but we were in the room that had all the mirrors with or at least it was some type of sigil, or I don't know if it was a wall. And I remember there was like it was the key to solving the puzzle, which was the all must bear the truth to circumvent failure, right? Is that the session I'm thinking of? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically,
mirror
we
clock.
won by mirror clock, as it was. So basically, to TLDR it, we all went one by one and just admitted really terrible truths about ourselves. If I remember correctly, there was a lot of trial and error for Eric
Poor guy.
early on. Yeah, he was kind of the test dummy. There was a couple after that here and there, but he was really, it was a good solid. That was the real tester there. And we went one by one, admitted terrible things. Usually it was a combination of I'm a really bad son, or like I fucking admit some terrible shit, or there was I'm scared to get close to people because I'm afraid I'm gonna have to hurt them, and a whole bunch of things like that, right? I think Vern said something about wanting revenge on the people who killed his parents. What else can I remember? There was God, I can't think of Urzak had said something about basically becoming alone and having the will to push on after everybody that he knows is dead because he is eternal. Don't remember if was canonically Crowbar there.
Crowbar was not there.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I missed that first half hour. I'm assuming they swapped him and Urzak.
Yeah, we just said that Urzak went back up, or Crowbar went back up to take Urzak's post, watching the others.
And lo and behold, old Desi boy was holding out. Holding out real good. Turns out he tries to murder Murderbot many times, and
unsuccessfully many times.
Yep. And also worth note, almost everybody had some type of trauma after admitting this truth, to some extent, which only the actual individuals kind of know, but you could see something was physically wrong with most of the people afterwards. Whether they
I think everybody except Vern, right? Was Vern the only one that passed the check?
I don't think. I think Eric.
Like,
Eric did.
Oh, yeah.
There's one more.
So
yeah,
good.
it was Eric.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Everybody's like in mental agony, and Vern's like, "This is so fun! What a nice adventure!"
Just sitting with my Vernlings, my useless Vernlings.
They were along for a great journey.
Mm-hmm.
They found the Vernlings found you a diamond, right?
That is true. We can always think back to
so
that important plot element.
Yep.
Yes.
And but anyway, so party became a little bit feeling a certain way about Dez after that point. Immediately got manacled by Urzak, which was one of the funniest things I think I've heard in a while.
The
Man passes out from trauma.
The best. Oh. I haven't laughed that hard at a game in years.
Yeah, that was great.
It was so good.
To sum it up,
that's one of those moments I'm so glad we recorded.
Yeah. there was some back and forth between Teth and Dez, and then there was some back and forth between Urzak and Dez, and then some very well pointed insight checks. And
So good. I was very
long story
happy with
short,
how it
don't lie to Urzak. Urzak doesn't like being lied to.
came out. He does not take kindly to that. No.
Yep.
All right.
I can babble on
Well-
longer if you like.
No, that's fine. We'll just
Is it-
have, I guess, Aaron rejoin whenever he does, and Brad will be here sometime. All right. On to today's prologue, sponsored by Neutrogena. Spread chemicals on your face to feel better about yourself. Neutrogena. Today's prologue will be somewhat interactive. I'm going to ask you how you're feeling or what actions you might attempt throughout. This will be the first prologue to include your present day characters.
Ooh.
From the orb, bright white light begins to dance out in front of all of you. Little flares and fibers of light fill the great room and reflect off of every surface. Once your eyes adjust, you can see clearly, projected on the ceiling of the cathedral, the outline of Azura. Now re-envisioned in bright whites and deep purples. Within the map are 6 bright projected orbs, each glowing a different color and slowly pulsing. At your location on the map, the white orb shines the brightest out of the 6 and pulses more quickly, sending calm waves across the illusory projection. Your vision begins to haze slightly, and a slow vibrating buzz begins to reverberate around the room. Just enough to make you all feel a little bit uneasy, almost on the verge of nausea. Your vision begins to tunnel, and your hearing begins to diminish. In addition to the low-frequency buzzing, you can now hear a very slight, high-pitched ringing, and the 2 tones are taking over your senses. The dynamic grows more and more intense until other sounds created naturally in the room seem like mere whispers. Your bodies begin to vibrate as well, and you can feel pressure forming behind your eyes, only gathering slight relief when closing them. And the vibrations are now echoing back and forth, following from wall to wall. Urzak, your breathing is starting to become labored. What is your reaction?
What does Urzak do? How labored are we talking here? Is this like I just like went for like a run, or
Yeah,
I'm
you ran
gonna
a couple
pass out?
miles.
He might do the I don't know, just like put his hands up on his head type thing. Try and do something physically to see if that
Offset.
helps him in any way.
The room begins to smell like iron or brass, other visceral metals, to the point where you can taste it deep into your throat. Your vision, or what's left of it at this point, develops a dull red glaze as if you're looking through cloudy cellophane. Though your sense of touch is now unreliable, your face begins to feel wet. The light from the orb and the fibers flaring around the room explodes as the vibration and ringing each reach a deafening volume. Burn, the pressure in your head has metastasized throughout your body. What are you feeling at this moment?
So wait, the pressure in my head is strong. It's throbbing
Everywhere.
everywhere.
Yep.
Ooh, I think Vern he's not used to all this physical activity, so he's going to just like kind of drop down and take a knee on this one. And so we're trying to like steady himself a bit.
Just as you all feel your bodies are starting to give out, your head and your heart may burst out of your body. Your senses will overload without a glimpse of repair. Incredible white light washes over the entire room, and all of the sound stops. You're left blinded and in silence, only hearing distant echoes of the ordeal dissipating around you. You hear muffled scrapes of metal, leather, wood, or other materials as your allies try in an attempt to gather themselves around you. And then you hear a stern voice. You can't tell if it's in your head or in the room, but it's very clear and very direct. You have made grasp of your true selves. To wield incredible power, one must not be afraid to reveal their deepest vulnerabilities. For your efforts, you have been granted temporary counsel with a god. Teth, as your vision begins to return, you can see tunneling out in front of you the visage of the deity you have devoted most of your awakened life to. In front of you is a giant illusory visage of the god of storms, Talos. Beth, you may ask him one question right now.
Really put me on the spot, Barlos.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to kill you in the first hour, but I am going to really put the pressure on.
Don't get too many shots to talk to a god that you've worshipped your entire life.
A very long life, might add.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One question.
You can see he's his face almost like he's made of stars. He's kind of glancing down at all of you, and his focus is resting on you, Teth. He can tell that you are one of his followers.
Just ask him why.
Is it like a... Do I feel like everybody's in the room with me? Or in this area with me? Whether it's projected mental image or actually here?
I
Or if
would
it's
say
just
that
me and
I
Cam?
would say that you do not know.
No
It's
clue.
so hard to tell, and everything was so intense that you're just getting hearing back. Your vision is still extremely impaired, but he is so bright that you can still see him. But I don't know that you would be able to even focus on other people if they were next to you.
Yeah, it's like just getting flashbanged. Pretty much like...
Essentially, yeah.
You know, it's funny because I'm buying all this time for a question. I still don't have it ready.
I'm just hoping that you're the only one that has to ask a question because I'm trying to think about what I would ask, and I don't think I know.
Is collecting these orbs the correct path for us?
Fair
Good
question.
question. Good
Mhm.
question. So the star shape, the star form of Talos is like his entire body, and he's taking up the entirety of the height of this room. So he's like 30 feet tall, right? And he crouches down. He'll look right into your face. He'll lower his hand down. You'll see in his hand the orb that you have just created is floating above his palm right here. And he will say, "With these orbs together, anything you wish will be possible." That sounds correct to me. And he'll make like a little blowing motion, and like a gust of wind with a little a very soft, faint thunderclap will push the orb towards you into your grasp. After he answers your question, Teth, he begins to dissipate as well, and the little flickers of light, the fibers of light, start swirling around the room, almost like a twister or a hurricane. And as quickly as it all was brought upon you, he is gone as well. The only thing remaining is a faint illusory map of Azura. So that is still on the ceiling. You can still see that glowing faintly. You find yourselves in place with the cathedral seemingly untouched.
Are we still kind of coming to? I take it. It's like we're alive, but we're still kind of disoriented.
Yeah.
Or...
I would say so, yes.
Did we hear that conversation between Teth and Talos?
I would say yes. Yeah. He was in the room for sure. He was produced by the completion of the orb.
As Vern catches his breath, he just he turns to Teth and says, "Well, it feels like we're on the right path and making the correct first step. I trust to God."
Pasparan is going to speak up. You would you would assume that everybody in the room experienced the whole same thing. She'll say she is physically shaken. Like you can tell that she is visibly very taken aback and very surprised that happened. She'll say, "You don't have to give me the orb. I don't want it, frankly, anymore. He seems to think that you want it, but there is some place that you have to see."
Paspram, I'm very happy that did not blow everything up. Honestly, if that just didn't happen, that would have been a success.
Wraith will kind of like raise her hand kind of behind everybody, and she'll be like, "Yeah, I'm happy that it didn't blow up too, just for the record."
That's why we kept you around, Wraith.
She'll give you just like a sheepish thumbs up.
Yeah.
Well, what do you need to show us, Pasparan?
A location that only some of the generals know about, the caster generals. It's a place that we use to communicate and travel quickly across the continent. If going to these other locations is in your future, it's somewhere that you need to start.
Oh, yeah, your mind plane. Not a fan.
Fair enough. You can travel any way you'd like to travel.
I would love to see this. I'm starting to think maybe my transcontinental railroad is not the best idea.
Vern, you're good at, drawing up like schematics and, engineering documents and using.
Oh.
Is there any way you can like quickly replicate all of this map with these little?
Oh. Yeah, of course. Although your sketch from earlier was really impressive. So if you want to do the honors, and I hand him my pad, of paper that I take all my notes and things. And I'm gonna let Teth do that like exact carbon copy thing
Printer
that he did
Teth.
before. Yeah.
As you say that, Teth, as you allude to Vern making a copy of the map,
Mhm.
the orb will light up in your hand, almost like it's responding to you, and it will project a mini version of the map into the air in front of you.
Oh,
Fuck
how
yeah.
wonderful.
Sorry, you're gonna have to wait another day, Vern, to see my artistic talent.
I'm gonna make an artifact item for D&D Beyond for these. It's the one thing that skipped my mind before coming into the session today. But you will have this in writing. You can just in case you want to do it today at any time, you can produce the map as a bonus action.
Which, by the way, above board, that map was very pretty.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I got in just in time into Roll20 to see it again.
Mhm.
Yeah, I went into the same software that I used to make the Azura map. It's called Wonder Draft, and Donovan was the one that gave it to me.
It is pretty cool.
It's very ethereal looking.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, Aspirin, how are we? Are you just going to show us? I guess I don't know what you guys call that place officially.
The cerebral realm?
Oh, yeah, that's place. Are we taking us there now? Are you going to show us how to travel this place on our own? Because I don't know if we always want to have a chaperone
Use it.
or use it.
Use it with somebody else, yeah. And she'll say, "Oh no, we don't even have to enter tonight if you don't want to. It is very late. In fact, I would urge you all to get a substantial rest before going out and looking for these things. But we should probably stop by our bunker. It's owned by one of your friends, actually."
They'll turn and look at Brackle.
Fast forward to getting to the bunker, knocking on the door, and nobody answers. Let me in! I swear Arvanta said he would be there today.
He just never showed up. I don't know where the fuck he went.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
That's just north of the city if you like to go tonight.
I assume the castle's still in chaos.
As you say that, Urzak, it kind of brings everybody back to the reality of the situation, that like atomic levels of noise just came from this cathedral. You can hear growing disturbance outside of the doors of the cathedral. Just a lot of heightened discourse, shouting, questions, things like that.
This is where we saw the ghost. That must be what it is.
I swear
Yeah.
they went into that building there.
Yeah, I don't think the bunker is a bad idea if it's as discreet as it sounds.
Is there a back way out of this this temple, gentlemen?
There is not, unless you go up through the windows.
Fucking make a break out the windows.
I mean, somebody here's a good liar, right?
It's a good question. I don't think I am.
Turn and look at Des.
Fucking got him.
He'll give you a shrug, and he's like, yeah, I deserve that. I deserve that one.
So Des is like, no, not really. You guys are just really stupid.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't catch on to this.
I'll be willing. Vern's like, I can sort of say something to the people as we
I will.
head out of the building.
Can I just assist you in whatever you want to say, just by standing behind Vern and then just doing fuck. I was gonna say doing sign language, but it's not a language. Also speaking in Celestial. We're just repeating what he says. Sounding
Celestial?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Almost like broadcasting to other people. But it probably sounds nice, right? Sounds like
yeah. Okay.
I want to give you the help action.
I appreciate that. Yes, that sounds great. Okay, I'll if Teth is following me, I will walk out the front doors to like the top step outside.
Okay. As you go through the door, there are several smaller crowds of people, maybe 5 to 7 in each little circle. And you can tell they're either family units or like neighbors or people from different districts that have crowded around. Again, this is kind of like a community gathering place. So if something happens here, a lot of people potentially could be affected. So many people would be interested if something big happens. So you have a crowd of smaller circles, probably making up a total of 35 to 40 people in various places in front of the cathedral. And as the door opens, all of them go silent. And they're just looking at Vern. And one guy in the very back, he pipes up. He's like, "Hey, didn't I see you going into the cathedral before?"
Yes, that is correct, ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing in there? It's public property.
It was, and it certainly is public property, but
Another woman will pipe up and interrupt you. Hey, what are you doing in there? You're doing like experiments or something? We need to know. It's our right to know.
Ghosts. Make them quiet down. We
What?
received reports that there were strange disturbances and hauntings, and as you can see by this beautiful divine device, as he's like saying celestial holy words behind me or something, we have been able to
make a persuasion check, Vern.
Okay.
Can we give him advantage?
No, I think the celestial is confusing people.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, so I have a +10 on it, but I did roll a natural 1.
Okay, so with an 11, they're not convinced. They're not picking up what you're laying down. Another lady will actually start walking towards you with like a group of 3 or 4 women. Will start walking towards you, and the leader of this little group is like, "Did you? He just said that he's haunting the cathedral."
No.
Fucking medieval Karens.
Yeah.
I can tap to switch back to common.
Okay.
Sorry, wrong setting. What he means to say is that we were exercising
Yes.
the ghosts that were
Another person from the other side of the little plaza will pipe up, and he'll say, "That's not what I heard. I think that he brought the ghosts here." And a couple other people will be like, "Yeah, let's get him." And people are going to start walking into your personal space, Vern.
Urzak is going to step in front of that.
Make an intimidation check.
He's going to come face to face with the first person who's getting in that range. And I got to pull up my dice.
A bunch of shit out of
Manacles.
them. Yeah.
40 pairs of manacles.
All right, that's a 22. And he's just gonna look down on him and say, "We're doing you a favor, and let me remind you, you are very out of your league right now, citizen."
Ooh.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. He's not backing down from you. He's 100% convinced that you are wrongdoers now.
Okay, I want to do something. Hang on.
Okay.
One more thing. So I think. Oh, there's no verbal component there. Good. Okay, I'm going to. It's my cast time. Okay, just like immediately. Okay, I'm going to create a minor illusion of a ghostly face coming out above us, above the like over top the doorway. It's like, ooh, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna blast my grappling hook hand, and as I collide into the ghost, it dissipates instantly. I'm like, whew, you took care of another one, boys. Keeping these citizens safe.
What is your what's higher, your persuasion or arcana?
Persuasion by like just 2.
Cut your arcana bonus in half and add that to a persuasion check.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So I'll get plus 14 on it. That's sick.
The crowd is gonna gasp. They're gonna be terrified as the ghost comes out, and then they're all gonna
23 total.
Yeah, the people, especially the people up in front that can see that happen, are very impressed. That you could dissipate the ghost so quickly, and
Professionals.
that you knew exactly what to do right away. Upon seeing it, you knew exactly which tool to use. And these are common folk. They may be a little higher on the wealth scale, but a lot of them are just like boutique retailers and things like that make a little bit more money. So they work with their hands, and that was really impressive to see somebody just deal with an extraplanar threat in that way.
Do any of these people look holy?
Make a perception check.
Almost forgot dice.
I think we're going to be rolling a lot tonight. It feels like that type of session.
I rolled a natural 20.
Ooh.
27.
Nobody in the front of the crowd, but there is one woman, maybe halfway back, 3/4 of the way back, that seems to be just taking things in, and she is wearing some sort of vestment type garment.
Okay. Noted.
A woman will shout out at you, Vern. She'll say, "Where'd you learn to do that? Was that a real ghost?"
It was, and lucky for you, fine folks, you had us here. And I strike a pose, kind of, because I'm like framed by like Teth behind me, towering over me, Urzak's to the side.
Crowbar also is super tall.
Yeah. And I'll do
the tall boys.
I'll use gust too to kind of like, do like a little epic wind effect around
below
us.
your cloak. Yeah.
Yeah, for all of us. It's a nice little reach.
Yeah, they're eating out of your hands now. They were not convinced until you made that ghost appear, and they are now kind of turning the corner.
Okay.
Another guy will pipe up towards the back of the crowd, so he's kind of like yelling because he's 40 people back. Who are you people? What do you call yourselves?
Oh, fuck you.
I think we're
Best.
So here's the thing. If this is actually like the DM being like, "Hey, what do you call yourselves?" So like, yeah, we should like think about an answer or give an answer. If it's just this guy being an asshole, it would just be like, we're done here.
Yeah.
I think that for now it's just this guy asking a question, but whatever you say doesn't have a 100% chance of not sticking. So
Ooh, okay, okay.
Leader, I think it is best that we leave this location. We need to let the spirits rest.
so
Quickly.
when you say that, Teth, Pasparan will, because she's pretty well known in this area. She has a house here. She will come out of the cathedral, and you notice a couple people recognize her, and that kind of puts them at ease. Like they were impressed already and kind of going with you, but now they seem to be on board with whatever you guys were doing inside. And she'll say, it's okay, everyone. We took care of the threat. Please, if you could just go back to your homes." And she'll kind of start shuffling people back and talking to smaller groups. And Flynn will do the same, just kind of trying to ease people's minds, as afraid of Flynn as some people may be.
I was about to
upon
say,
seeing his
how
face.
typical are zombie people in Azura?
Not very typical at all. Very, very rare.
Is this dude still in my face?
He's still close to you. He has since backed off though.
You were the one set name then.
Ursak doesn't gonna say anything. He's just gonna crack a little bit of a grin at the guy.
He will kind of nervously laugh along with you. Just like,
Urzak has like, does Urzak have like pointy teeth?
Yeah, he probably has fangs. For sure.
It's like a grin, but it's like kind of like malevolent, like kind of.
Yeah. So the crowd starts to dissipate a little bit, and as they are moving, who comes around the corner to see what is the fuss? Cerberus. And he'll.
Can I put that orb away? By the way.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed you would have hatched
Okay.
it at this point.
Oh, another quick side note. I wanted to give Wraith her shit back.
Okay, cool.
It's like a staff and daggers and gold. A small bag of sand.
She had a bunch of stuff. I have it written down. See, that's the other problem with writing things down physically. I have like 13 notebooks in this office, and I'll write something down and then close the notebook and put it away, and I have no idea where those notes are, ever. I'll find them in 2 years when I use it for something else.
What's really funny is I was just thinking, I was like, man, we like have never gotten treasure in this campaign. And then also realized like, oh, we don't kill people, we just beat them up and interrogate them and give them their shit back.
You've gotten a lot of gold. You found a lot of gold in the compound, but not much treasure. I think you took Oak's daggers, and you took those little discs from Gael's room, the books and the discs. But I couldn't tell you who had those.
Probably Fitzko.
Probably.
Just fucking.
All right. Well, Cerberus is gonna show up, and he is in his new regular mood, where you knew him before, to just be explosive and hot-headed all the time. He is just defeated all the time. He just hates waking up and going to work every day. He's gonna kind of just like slump into the area, and he'll kind of address all of you as a group, because you now are traveling with what, like 20 people? I don't know how many people are in your group. It'll split off in a second. He's gonna be like, I I got a report of a disturbance in the central city cathedral. Is everything okay?
Sad boy Cerberus.
Yeah, really hates it.
If no one else steps up, Urzak will step up and say, "Yeah, we're okay. I believe we're making progress on our expedition."
All right. Well,
Also, I gotta ask, do you know anything about a group of people called the Chasers?
no, it
They
doesn't
have
ring a
any
bell.
no connection with you guys? Okay.
Insight check.
Yeah, go for it.
Can't tell if he's depressed or he's just full of shit.
Why not
This
both?
dice is rolling great. Insight. Dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, you analyzing his face and emotions, he's not telling you the full truth, but he did seem confused by the name Chasers.
Noted. For a future conversation.
Urzak buys it. He doesn't even question it.
He's gonna say, all right, well, if everything's taken care of here, I was tasked by Dawn to bring you guys back to the compound for the night. It's getting late and just bullshit's happening, so
Can I ask how the previous situation at the compound was resolved?
oh, they all got in. Yeah, that whole first room, that's a whole mess. But eventually Zethlo talked him down and a bunch of people left. I think some of them are still in there eating in the mess hall. I don't really know.
Urzak's he'll turn and look back at Casper and the rest of the people. Say, who exactly did he ask you to bring back to the compound?
To just whoever is involved in whatever's going on. Honestly, all of you could go back. None of you could go back. He's really sad about what happened tonight, so he probably wouldn't even care.
Good.
Yeah.
I guess we'll.
So at that, Flynn is going to say, also he overheard Pasbaran before. I'll say, I'll take a group back so he sees people going back into the compound. That will be important. But I think maybe 4 or 5 of us should go and see this hub that Pasbaran was talking about. Also, it would be wise to gather as many tithes as possible. I can wake Arvantis too.
I do have to ask. Do we have a name for you off-world people? Extra planers? I don't know.
Chased.
The Chased?
The Chased. Oh, I like that.
I mean,
I'm good with whatever. I don't know that enough of them know each other to have established that type of community yet.
Are you planning to come with us on this adventure, or? I mean, I don't think, at least from what Cerberus says, it doesn't sound like the Chasers are associated directly with the Casters, which makes me think that they're probably associated with Visic.
Des will step forward and say, "You know that you have my bow if you want it."
Turn and look at the other three.
Solia and Luna kind of will just go wherever Des goes. They seem to have followed him thus far. Luna will sign common sign language to Solia. She'll say, but Luna says that we should give our talents as well.
I'm only concerned for
And
you.
Wraith looks completely disinterested in continuing to adventure.
I'm only worried about not necessarily worried about your safety if you return to the compound, but I am worried about your freedom to do as you wish.
Brackle will step forward and he'll say, I have enough pull at the compound. I'll make sure that they have free passage in and out.
Very well.
So Flynn, Brackle, Wraith, and Salia will go with Cerberus back to the compound, leaving you just with you four, Crowbar, and Dez and Luna.
Could Tuth ask just to pass on to Z-Flow the situation, which it sounds like they're gonna update him anyways, but just make sure Z-Flow knows, hey, your big robot boy is going this way.
Yeah. Flynn will nod and say that he will pass the message along.
Thank you.
So the crowd is starting to dissipate. Pesperan has kind of evened them out a little bit, and she's gone on to kind of discuss with some of the leaders, including the one woman who is wearing vestments, kind of the sanitized version of what happened. And she will return to the party. Say everything's kind of tied up here.
You cut out for a second there, Barlos, I think.
Oh.
You said everything's tied up here.
She'll say everything's tied up here. I'm ready to go if you are ready to go.
You going?
Hey,
So she will lead you through more city streets. What is everybody's passive perception?
Dog shit.
robot eyes.
Nice.
Yeah, mine's not good.
Mine's a 10.
10.
22.
Two.
So, Teth, you can kind of take note as you're going through this kind of like middle class district. There is an armory that you recognize the name of, that you can kind of keep note for later. And there also is a magic shop that you have heard of. I guess everybody would see that. It's called the Blind Button. Button, the Blind Button. And that is renowned the continent over for being able to import different magical things. They, like I said before, are relatively boutique-y. So sometimes they may not have a super large selection, but the things that they do have are either specific items that people have requested, so you can always go and request things and come back and pick them up, or they're just wild things that are from different regions of the continent. And I had the armory's name written down too, somewhere. I'll find that sometime and put that in for you. But yes, Blind Button. is the magic shop that you pass on the way. So Pasbrand leads you out to the kind of the northern limits of this section of town. And as you're walking, you can see you feel the gaze of people from their windows. People are shamelessly standing in their doorways watching you walk through. Some of them have just gotten word of what happened at the cathedral. Some of them are much more informed and know exactly who you all are and why you were in town earlier this morning. Especially you, Eric, and Urzak. The two of you would for sure be super recognizable.
I got a weird question.
Yeah.
How do people think? This might not be something Urzak knows or not, but how do people feel about us? Like, are they like upset that we like ruined the tithes? Technically, do they blame us for the king's death, or like?
It's a mixed bag. So depending on how fervent someone's allegiance to the casters is, kind of fluctuates that scale for each individual person or household. If they're really devout casters, or if they're a member officially of the casters, they absolutely would blame you. Either, on a sliding scale from, oh, the tithes didn't pan out how I thought because of them, all the way up to the king is dead because of these people. I will hate them forever, and I'm going to tell all of my generations following to hate them too. And then there are people that are just genuinely interested to see where you go from here. So it's kind of up in the air depending on who you wind up talking to.
So generally not well liked.
Yeah, I would say you're generally not liked, but you're not universally disliked either. It's more just like dislike or apathy, one of the two.
Gotcha.
So you are seeing all of these. You're feeling these eyes on you everywhere you go, and you can't shake that feeling. You can see them at some points. There are some people that will just brazenly walk out to the street in front of their house and watch you pass by. You make it to the edge of the city, and Hasbrand's going to turn back to you all. She'll say, "This place that I'm taking you to, you will be the first people that are not caster generals that have been there. Are you sure you want to continue?"
Yes,
Definitely.
please.
So
And
excited.
she'll nod and kind of give a half smile from under her trunk, and turn around. And it's maybe 20 paces, 30 paces from the northern limits of the town, where the field that you're walking through drops off just enough that you can't see over the side. It plateaus just enough that it obstructs the view from the city. And on the underside of the hill, you can see her kind of patting a wall of stone and dirt and different sediments, and things are kind of falling out of it. She's rubbing around on the wall, trying to find a specific place. And you see her finally find a specific rock in the wall. And it's a big red stone. It's probably 10 inches wide, 5 inches tall, kind of a flat rock. And she'll take that and push that into the wall. And as that goes into this rock face, just below that, the doorway starts opening up like this. I thought somebody was knocking on the door. It's just the dog itching herself up against the door. Love that.
Who's there?
And Well, it's like everything is muffled with these on, so like if somebody's knocking on the door, it means by the time I hear it, they're probably right behind me.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's
so
good,
yeah,
man.
so this doorway opens up, and rocks and sediment and sands are falling down from within the door as it's opening. It's making not a super loud noise, but it's a pretty intense grinding noise. And once it is fully open, you can see inside is lit by candles and torches, and there are several different colors throughout the room that you can kind of look into and see. Asks Pasbrand, do people normally stare? She'll say, they don't normally stare at me.
And I'm a big elephant lady.
They just know her. She's been around for a long time.
I mean, it's essentially like, I mean, Tasbrand's a God, what walks it on, correct?
Yes.
So it's like a bunch of really big motherfuckers walking through the street, right?
Yeah.
That all look different and are
Yeah.
all stand out, and some of them are known as ties. So I would imagine
Yeah.
it's very like if you're not looking, you're wrong, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you have Pasperin with you. Who else? Des.
Best boy Des.
And Luna.
And our
Party right
Vantis.
now. He just shows up out of the blue.
Hey guys,
That would be
want to hear a funny story?
for him to show up while Brackle is gone would be so fucking funny.
Oh, that would be so good. All right. So you are you entering this door, I guess I should say.
Yes.
Enter after
Yes.
Pasparan does.
So Pesbrin will walk through the door. She'll have to crouch. It's probably like 8-foot door frame, and she's just higher than that. Teth will also have to squeeze. And Urzak too, I guess. Everybody except for Eric and Vern.
And Vern.
Yeah.
Comfortably strolling
Eric and Vern walk side by side through the door.
in. Yep.
So you are walking through this door. It's leading into kind of a lengthy passageway. And as you are walking down this hallway, you can see a bunch of different colors coming from the end of the hallway. And they're getting brighter and brighter as you go down. And you finally get to the mouth of this room, this bunker that she's talking about. And you can see that it is split into circular sections. Pasbran, who's leading the way, will walk into this center area here. And these are all kind of like half walls with bookcases and desks in here. There's a meeting area over here.
I'm seeing just black.
Same.
Of course.
It was all a trap from the darkness.
This is where you all die.
I've only got 10 feet of blind sight.
Yeah.
Followers of our
danger zone.
advances jump us. What have you done to our
Okay.
master?
Let's see. Why? Okay. Is that any better?
No.
You see a square now?
Nope.
No. Damn it! What is going on?
I can see the black square where it looks like it would be the outline of the room. That's all I see is that, and it's just completely black.
I don't even see that.
That's so annoying.
I assume you're using the same tokens, which I assume we have vision on.
Yeah.
Do you
It
have?
should be a completely lit room.
Do you have the dynamic lighting on for the room?
Yeah. Thank you.
What else?
Now I know what it looks like.
I couldn't leave you in suspense.
What else
I've been
breaks-
dying to know.
What else breaks lighting?
Oh,
Better?
There you go. Yep.
yeah.
Hey, all right, awesome.
It's weird that happened right as I disabled dark mode, and I was like, "Is it because I was in dark mode?"
Was it you?
The
This is
fuck?
cool.
Yo,
Did you make this one too, Carlos?
I did not know.
Oh, okay.
That's a happy
I
baby.
stole this for. He is happy until he's not happy, and then right now he's very sad.
I mean,
I can hear him
aren't
in the
we?
other room.
Isn't that just
crying.
everybody? We're happy until we're not happy.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Just life, guys. That's how
It's
it
just
goes.
as you get older, you just tend to be more unhappy than happy. It seems like.
Oh, it's so
Right.
sad but true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now I got to get back onto my. There we go. So Pasperin will walk into this center area. And you can hear her kind of mumbling to somebody, and she will come back out. And with her is your friend that she was talking about, the owner
Arthur.
and operator of this hub, this underground hub, Morrowill.
Oh. I really thought it was gonna be Visick. Trigger the boss music.
Yep. Da.
That'd be so cruel. Just Aaron and Brad and Andrew. None of you guys get to fight the BBEG.
Yeah.
Here we are. No orbs, no travel, just right now. Here we go.
Yeah.
And she will walk up to you. She'll say, "It's nice to meet. It's nice to see you again. Welcome to my hub."
Teth is going to visibly elbow Eric. Fuck, he's not here. God damn it.
He's not.
Urzak's gonna step forward and give her offer a handshake.
For the sake of brevity, I am going to say that Eric, Dez, Luna, and Crowbar are going to keep watch outside. So they will come in if you need them, but just so we're not overcrowding the scene.
Got it. This is the same woman that was at the headquarters, right?
She was in the compound, yes. She would be incredibly familiar to Urzak, not so much to Teth or Vern.
Yeah, he'll step up and give her a welcoming handshake.
She will skip the handshake and just go in and hug you.
Aww.
She will be shocked for a second and then reciprocate. He stammers for a moment. He says, "I have to admit, I'm kind of confused. You say that the only people who have been in this place are other generals. Is
And she'll give you a smile and she'll say, what was she say? Say, "Is someone as paranoid as the king? You think you'd trust anyone less than a general to keep watch over you?"
I guess I'm curious. What is the purpose of this place?
Give me 1 second. I gotta go check on something real quick. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Sorry about
Speaking
that,
of
guys.
Manticore experience,
I demand an apology from Archer himself.
I would like one too, actually.
I
If he's handing them out, please let me know how to get one.
speaking of the Manticore experience that we were just discussing, that was possibly the quickest introduction and almost murder of a character I've ever seen.
Yeah.
No.
That was quick.
Man, what a time. That was
What a time.
like that was to the point where, like, after that session, when I thought that I still might play, I messaged Donovan and I was like, "Look, can I just make a new character? This is such a bad build. It's
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
weak character,
this is working
useless
out.
abilities." It was like similar to Grim, but not so similar that he was powerful. He just like, it was bad. I don't know what I was thinking when I made him.
Well, what happened? You started making a bard, and then you're like, "Yeah, I'll play warlock."
Yeah. Well, I don't know what was going on because I made him before I made Grim, which is I think is what the problem was. I made him a warlock, and then we waited 6 months to play that campaign, and in that time, I had made Grim for Electric Boogaloo, who was just like the 2.0 version of
Yeah.
Enzo. It was like I was working backwards.
Waiting for Patron Grim.
He's coming. He's coming. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I hate to do that to you, but
Understood.
I don't know
Okay.
what's going on with him right now.
It's like he's a baby.
I know, and usually he's so good, and tonight he was just not feeling it for whatever reason.
Here's you start doing those voices, and it's like, it's Dad's D&D time.
I
Trying to fuck it up.
He hears it through the wall, and he's like, "Now's the
Yeah.
time to do it."
Dad's time to strike.
I was like, as a parent, you can only take so much, and Rhiannon's been like, he's been just going psycho tonight, just like crying and screaming. So she has been going through it for almost 2 hours now. So it's like, even though I'm not here, like sometimes my morality gets the best of me, and it's like I could just go in for a second and help.
I could just be
Oh,
a good
good.
husband.
I could, man.
But it's D&D night.
That's where
Hey!
it all goes wrong. Oh man. So to recap, Aaron, I guess, have you talked about this at all yet? What this was?
No.
We've talked about everything except for that.
Okay, cool. Have you talked about a name at all?
Nope.
Hell no.
Good. Then we'll save that for 5-6 weeks down the line, in the moment when you have to decide. Cool. So this is an underground bunker that Pasparan has led you all to. I have you guys down here. You're technically, I had you keeping watch, but now that you're here. Pasparan led you in. This is some sort of transport system across the continent. You don't know much about that yet. And she has just revealed that Marawil, the common worker that took care of you during the tithes, is the operator of this underground base. And I think Urzak asked a question, and that's when I had to go. And I can't remember what that question was.
And literally just asked, "What's the purpose of this place?"
Oh, okay. Some sort of transport system across the continent. Pasparan would turn to you and say, once we started working to save tithes instead of just have them fight to the death, we used this place to get them to the capital and away from the capital as quickly as we could.
Are you saying that the king was aware of your
Oh no,
actions?
no. But he never questioned his generals. Paranoid about everybody else, but boy, did he have faith in us. Totally wrongly so, but
That's ironic.
he trusted us. Yeah.
Eric will kind of ask for clarification as for you said us. So this is not a general. Pasbrand's not a general.
Hesperin is a high general, so she is not a compound general. She lives in Charvassus. She works, ironically, a lot on the transport systems and trade systems for the entire continent. So when she started that job, this was one of the things that she started working on because she had very little oversight from the king. She was kind of out on her own. So she built this instead of building caster trade routes.
Well,
And so
I guess we'll take the tour.
So she will walk further in, and Mara will kind of guide you into this inner circle here. This is lined with books. A lot of these look to be personal journals or manuscripts. Pulling out a couple, you would see, or there are probably several of them strewn across tables and things like that. A lot of these look to be handwritten. And not by magical means. Like somebody just sat and wrote pages and pages and pages of information. There's one main desk here, still has a cup of hot liquid on it, presumably Marowil's, over a scroll that she's looking at. And then around the outside, these seem to be there are metal plates at the ends of each of these little nooks. Right there. That you would presume would lead direct places.
So how do these work?
Well, Pasparan will kind of motion to the 6 on the sides. These 6 are direct transports. They go to one specific place on the continent, one person at a time, almost instant travel. Think of it as a small scale teleport. You don't have to know where you're going because it is already programmed. The arcane magic is already in these nodes. The one up to the north leads to the cerebral realm. So if you need to go somewhere more specific and you need to kind of guide your own journey, you can go onto that plate and enter that realm and go to a specific spot that you could think of with some intelligence checks and sanity checks.
That top one's really convenient.
You know, it's
Very
funny. I was thinking the
convenient,
exact opposite.
Oh.
Is
The only
cerebral
difference with the top one is there's no other side. Like the other 6 have an ending plate that will go directly there. This will just take you to this position in the cerebral realm, and you have to know how to cast the spell to get back, or have an item that you can cast the spell through to get back.
Okay.
What did the other ends of these teleporters look like? Are there other generals stationed on the other sides, or
They're similar to these plates. We tried to pick remote enough locations that nobody would be lying in wait. At one point, we had a divination sorceress on our side, so she could look at the areas before we traveled to make sure that they were safe. That is no longer the case, as you might know. So it's a little bit more dangerous now, but it is a direct form of transport.
So, your latest knowledge, are the destinations tested right now? Like, you're not gonna end up in a new construction, just in the middle of a new home being built or anything. You're not gonna-
Correct. They are direct transports to a specific point that is predetermined.
But you're saying you kind of lost contact with the other sides, and in a way that it used to be monitored and guarded, and
We didn't lose contact with the other side. We just lost alliances with Ebish, who would look at them for us before travel.
oh, okay, he can see using something other than his eyes, right? Okay, I gotcha.
Yes. Yep. She was the seer that helped gather the tithes. So she was an expert in divination magic. So she could see the area before we traveled. And if it was dangerous, we would wait until the coast was clear,
Okay.
and then we would hop onto the plate.
did we above game? Did Ebish did she go with Visic? Was she part of that group of people?
You don't know. None of you really saw her exit. It's just when Finn and Brackle got back to the compound and Arvantis, she was not there. She was AWOL.
But she wasn't in that group of people when the big boom happened.
No.
Are these
Interesting.
two-way transports?
Yes.
Good.
Urzark's gonna go over to bookshelf here and start trying to see if there's a theme amongst the books that are written here.
Sure. Are you looking for anything in particular, or just kind of the genre of?
Yeah, I guess just trying to see if they're seem to all be about the same thing or a genre of sorts.
Gotcha. Make an investigation check.
Natural 20, right when I need it. 23.
With a 23, you would easily start to pick out a pattern. In this section, this is all like transport logs, so testimonials of people that were originally testing these when they were first built. A lot of them are written by Pazparan herself. You'd see many of them penned by Ebish, a few by Marawil, one or two here and there from the other territory generals, but they really only use their plates and they largely stay in their territories. One thing that you would find is curious with a 23 is a few of them are written by Gael, who you would have thought would have stayed mainly in, like, on the in the main building, because he was one of the king's right hands, or so he thought. But you would see that several of them, considerably longer manuscripts, have his name on the spine. If you pulled those out, a lot of them are lists of names of people that were tithed. So if you went through the ages of tithes in the past, he kept very acute records of dates they were taken, where they were taken from, and whether or not he was able to get them back home.
I think Vern's going to kind of approach the one that I thought was the most like it's just like what is it, like sandy kind of turf, like nothing dangerous leading up to that plate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can tell that a lot of this is illusory.
Okay.
It was kind of like the flavor as they were building this, so they could just at a glance, if somebody new was joining, they could say go to the desert, and they would know exactly where they would go without
Okay.
question.
I want to investigate the plates with obviously without standing on them, just because I'm interested. It's technology that seems arcane and also whatever. I mean, there's actual hardware involved. Can I take notes on it and like?
Yeah, absolutely. You would roll for investigation or Arcana, one of the two.
Definitely Arcana. Ugh. Okay, that was a 10.
Okay, so with a 10, you at least would surmise that there's some type of conjuration magic going on here, outside of the illusory magic of the setting of the floor and walls and ceiling looking like sand. You've you've been around enough magic users in your family to know how teleportation works, though you don't quite know how to produce that yourself yet. You would surmise that this is the same basic principle. The plate itself is made of metal, likely some type of steel, or similar alloy like that. They seem to be very sturdy, and they seem to be fixed into the ground. It is not an independent plate sitting on top of the ground. They are fixed in there.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll wander back to the group now.
As you're coming back, Marwil is kind of back at her desk over here, sipping from her cup, from her mug, and kind of running through the scroll that she was looking at. And as she's doing that, there's a kind of like a low whirring, like a humming. And from down in the bottom right region, you can see a small flash of light and a kind of a quick clap. And someone appears on the plate. Starts walking towards the group. He sees Eric first. He's very confused, and he looks around and he looks at Marawil and Pazparan just to make sure that all these people are supposed to be here. He was not made aware that you would all be waiting for him when he came through. And he is going to draw a wand and point it at Eric.
Draw a wand. Is this a general or a tithe that Eric knows?
You would recognize him from the King's funeral as Alan, the Territory General of the Central Region.
No need. We're all friends. That's what I'd say to. Maybe do I say Alan? I know him by name, I guess.
I think you would know of him. Alan! Alan! Love it. You'd kind of look over at Marawil, and she would give him a quick nod. And he'll very slowly put down his wand and kind of put it back into his robe that he has. And he'll slowly walk up to you. Still not 100% trusting of your presence here. And he'll extend a hand and he'll say, Alan,
And I'll
and you are.
I was gonna make such a joke about him being Alan Rickman. Off of his looks,
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
And then he pulled out a wand, and I was like, "That's pretty funny."
Yeah.
Great.
If you want to go a layer deeper, if you look at his if you look at his thing on here,
in the game.
it says he has a strange obsession with Hargrave, and Hargrave's first name is Lily.
Oh god, that's so funny.
I get absolutely none of those references.
That's all right. That's all right.
Okay. But it's funny, right?
Yeah, it's humorous.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
great.
haha,
That's great.
funny.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
But yeah, he'll extend his hand. And you are?
I'm Eric Ecleodric, son of Halbered from Ponte.
Yes, I'm sure you're supposed to be here. Wonderful. He'll walk into this center circle, eyeing the shit out of Teth. He actively avoids walking next to Teth.
Is he holding a skull?
His casting focus is a wand and a skull. He's very interested in the dark arts.
Teth just comments on his skull and says, I like your skull. And then just keeps
He'll
looking at him.
look over. He'll look over his shoulder, like his hair kind of like flips around. What? This skull? He'll like.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll take a seat in one of these chairs.
You're welcome.
Urzak wants to kind of like peep over Marwa's shoulder a little bit and see if he can ascertain what she's reading on that scroll.
She is so. Make an Arcana check.
It's another natural 20 for 23 again.
With a 23, you would instantly recognize a variation of a teleport spell. It's essentially, as you are reading from what you can glean with a 23 Arcana, it looks to be a return spell from the cerebral realm that she is actively crossing things out on and making edits, presumably to put it more into layman's terms.
Simplifying it.
Yeah.
Even a commoner could use this scroll.
Say, even an Urzak could use this scroll.
Even any of you jabronis.
Yep.
Urzak's in general, he's very studious, especially with arcane magic in his grasp. He's gonna just kind of try and make conversation about like, oh, why did you do this? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Presumably it's all over its head.
She will have a very succinct and strangely understandable answer for everything that you ask. After making conversation with her, you understand the scroll 100% better.
Would you mind or allow me to take note of this?
Oh, it's not quite done yet.
Well, still,
You'll be getting it once it's done.
Even in this state, I would appreciate the ability to spend time with it. I think I could learn.
If you think that's best, go right ahead.
Urzak will pull out his very tiny pair of glasses and enter full nerd mode.
Tiny spectacles.
As you are doing that, Dez and Luna are going to walk in. And he will kind of just from this doorway here, he'll say, "Hey, this might not be anything, but there's a lot of movement out on the plain pretty close to this doorway. Do people usually just kind of walk by here?" And that kind of freaks Marwil out a bit. Normally, people just kind of pass this by. It's not a very picturesque wall. So even people that are just sightseeing would not really get close to this. So that does seem to be too close for her comfort. So Pasperen's going to get down to brass tacks, and she's going to say, she'll ask the party, how do you want to proceed with the orbs?
Well, I think we can agree that
That was a
the
click. I don't know what that was. There was an emote.
It's so
saw
funny. so
It was
random.
literally a misclick.
I just imagine that being Eric's response to like the question, like how do you want to proceed? And you're just like,
I think we can, at the very least, agree that well, the orb we presently possess is chosen Teth, and at least based on his line of questioning with Talos, I think we can feel comfortable enough knowing it's in good hands.
Do you want to consult
Teth,
on that?
as he says that, you can. Where are you holding the orb?
My imaginary chest cavity. No,
Okay.
just a pouch. I would imagine
Okay.
there's the same pouch that I had the big diamond in before.
The orb, you can sense that it's giving off light, and it starts to heat up a little bit. At the mention of Talos's name.
Produce it.
It is glowing as you bring it out, and it just has the map up and ready to go.
Can we?
As you bring it out, it's already projecting.
do any
Can
of the
we
spots
look at
seem
that
to be
map again?
glowing a little brighter? Maybe?
Yeah, actually, the map again would be awesome.
This is what you see projected into the air. Nothing is glowing any brighter than the rest. If anything, the white one is more distinguished because it's coming out of the white orb.
Mm-hmm. So
Perhaps I'm a little late in realizing this, but if this would be the orb of Talos, and there's 5 more dots, perhaps each of these orbs would correlate to another god of the Presidium.
oh,
That's
yeah,
safe
I
to
just
assume.
took me a while to figure that one
I
out.
think you're
Too.
correct.
like above game. It took me. I just
No,
realized that.
above game,
I was
this is
like,
also
oh.
me just figuring this out.
I was like, oh, Talos
Yeah.
is Storm God. I didn't realize that he was really important and is going to be the one behind all of them. It's like, oh, okay, got it.
Well,
So Mara will seeing this for the first time. She, first of all, she is incredibly surprised to see you with this orb. It's something that she and Pasperan both, kind of what Pasperan's reaction was in the cathedral, just like shock that this even exists. She's going through that now. She knew that there was always a possibility that something this mythical could be real, but she gave up on pursuing it long ago. She is only a half elf, so she is closer to the end of her years than Pasperan. So she's kind of resigned herself to being more of a protector and caregiver in her later years than a true adventurer. But this seems to have sparked something in her, and she speaks up, seeing this map, and she would say, "I'd have to agree with you. It looks like those are probably correlating with the other deities from the Presidium."
And where do you think, knowing where these plates could teleport us? They see the map, right? Yeah, of course they see the map because they're commenting on it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, which one of these glowing orbs is the most or easiest to access using your teleportation system here?
Well, I would say the one to the south, the forest, the one to the far uh, west, under the dredge, or the northwest in the mountains.
Hmm.
The two in the middle, you'd have some travel on your hands. Unless, of course, you went through the cerebral realm.
Well, of those three, can we try to deduce which of these orbs they might be?
Blee.
Or like which
Pull,
gods?
pull up my notes.
Um,
Urzak's a religious guy. Am I actually religious?
yeah.
Yes.
I'll turn to the group though, and I'll be like, yeah, as a man, predominantly of science, I I don't have any close affiliations necessarily with many of these gods, but if anyone else feels drawn due to you know, some bond you may share, I would say we would head to that direction.
Is there, with my knowledge of gods in the Presidium, it seemed like there's a color tied with them, like
Roll for religion.
it is a 17, I believe. Yes.
With a 17, you would really only be able to speculate because of how
I guess I'm not really.
sorry.
Was it-
You would only be able to speculate because these are ancient artifacts.
Yeah.
The only one that you could really predict with some accuracy would be the uh, the ethereal guardian god Cassis would likely be the purple one.
Okay.
Anytime he is depicted in mythology, he is surrounded by purple clouds. Um, that's typically the color that he would be used that would be used to depict the many souls that make up his body.
Does Teth have an idea, based off this map, if any of these are close to where the Sith kingdom once existed?
Yeah, you would have great recollection. The Sith kingdom was on the eastern side. It was the right half of the continent.
Mhm.
So the Sith kingdom would really only house the orb that you already have, the orb of power.
Okay. That tracks. Cool.
Well, only speculation, but obviously Talos is our white circle, and perhaps Cassis could be the purple circle, but Not sure about the rest.
Is that right?
Well, Talos is wrong.
Talos
Oh, it
is
is.
right.
Even though, oh, okay.
That's the one we
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, Talos is white for sure.
Oh, I'm
Um,
doing it with all the gods pictures. They all literally have these colors.
Does the dredge, have I ever traversed through the dredge? Do I know if it's a particularly harsh landscape?
You would have traveled over top of it. So you would know that the dredge is a series of underground lava flows. It's where they do a lot of mining for natural ores and really heavy metals. So you would not have seen most of the really intense parts of the dredge.
Guys, there's lava. Means we have to go, right?
Well, obviously we can discuss and put it to a vote, but I had previous interest in going to Drumwood Forest.
South.
Yes. And I'll turn to the generals in the room and say, I don't suppose any of you keep in contact with the Wisp at all.
Mara would answer that, and she would say, as a matter of fact, she comes through here quite often. You'd be able to find her using the plate down to your whatever that is. I don't have the the right screen up. Oh, nobody does because I'm trying to
Is
get a
it-
map for you.
Is it the red one?
The bottom left probably.
Oh, the water one.
Is that right?
Bottom
No,
left is
that's
the
wrong.
rock.
Top left.
The
That's
green
where
one.
it is.
The foresty one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that the forest of the north.
Well, I guess I meant to talk with her previously regarding the orbs, but I also meant to explore the area in search of any answers regarding the Dampier we could find.
And she will actually perk up when you mention that. You say, "I know that the Wisp has had many dealings with them. They seem to be a relatively kind race."
How do I put this? Visick has taken an interest in one, and I'm curious if she is a special Dampier or maybe news of her parents, or I don't know. But I do intend to keep looking for answers.
Well, if you intend to keep looking right now, that'd be a great place to start. It seems we have a direct way to get to where you want to go.
But
As good as the other two, anyway, I suppose.
as I
I,
said,
for one, think the forest is a great idea. It's kind of near cities, isn't it? And I'm new to this whole exploration thing. So before we throw ourselves all the way out there to the far west in lava flows or canyons of sorts, I think a forest, a little closer to civilization sounds much more comfortable.
is there civilization in the forest?
Yeah,
There's
that's
that
what I was about
city
to say.
nearby, isn't there? Isn't there a city like to the northwest of it?
There is,
Is it
yeah.
3 Spears.
City of Three Spears. Yes.
Well, turn
Oh,
to
I get extra
turn
credit, teacher.
turn to one of the Mir's a city too, right?
Mhm.
So I'll turn to one of the generals and say, "Can you? I know you said these facilities are somewhat remote. How far out from one of the cities would we be?
If you use our teleportation plate, you'd wind up just south of the Gulf of Talos, just northeast or northwest of the town of Mir.
Well, do any of the rest of you have opinions or preferences to posit?
I would ask the room, you know, Parziban and Marwell and Alan, if they've used that portal recently. So they've seen the
Yeah.
other end, you know, what to expect maybe.
It'd be a safe bet that Pasparan and Mara will have used all of these portals quite regularly. Alan, not as much. He really only uses his own portal that goes back to the dredge. But the other two are quite familiar, and they would vouch for its general safety. But as Pasparan already warned, there's always a chance of danger.
I also don't want to be too presumptuous, but perhaps secretly hoping that we might find the orb of Melora there.
Are we talking about green or red?
Green. No.
Red.
Oops. Oh no.
That's why I'm confused.
Down the south.
So
Yeah.
so by Mir. Okay. That gives a big thumbs up.
The teleportation circle, I will put a thing on the map.
Oh, the
Let
red.
me
Yeah, the red
find a-
circle. Sorry, I think I meant the green portal that takes you to the forest. Okay. Keeping it straight.
We put like a transparent filter on it and just like overlay them.
Oh, that's going to disappear on the map. That's not bright enough. Use this for a transportation circle. Okay. Oh, doesn't let me. That's super annoying. All right. I don't want it to be a giant thing.
It's a 16-mile teleportation circle.
If you use, if I don't remember if you can resize with Alt or not, if that lets you avoid the grid.
This is where the teleportation circle would be. Yellow circles will be the transport circles.
Ah,
Okay.
nice.
And once we teleport there, will there be is there any place for us to stay and rest, or should we be doing that here at this hub?
You're welcome to stay and rest here. There's no way of getting in. If we lock it from the inside, perfectly secure.
Okay, we don't have to worry about whoever Dez saw out there lurking around.
Nope.
I
Good.
should also say I have been working on a way to secure a safe haven for us magically, if we choose to, or if we are forced to leave this place,
Oh,
or prefer to rest somewhere with beds.
sounds great. Well, may I just say that I always feel safe when I'm with you guys. I put a hand. Who's near me? Hopefully not one of you scary ones. I don't know anymore.
They're all scary.
I'll assume that Eric is nearby. He seems the most approachable, and I'll give him a
I just
little.
made this into a handout
Mental
so I don't have
pat.
to keep switching back to the
Cool.
different map.
Urzok. It's
Oh,
right
no.
next to you.
Okay. I give Urzok a very gentle, just one on the shoulder, just like.
how,
Don't
does,
give
how does Urzok react to that?
You gotta have like a very forced grin, and just give him another pat back on the shoulder.
Aw, see, we're making progress. This is great.
It's also don't know if this is an option or not, but if there's a way to purchase or acquire things before we leave, maybe also a good idea. Above game, the DM set a name for a shop, so
Yeah.
The blind buttons
That's
should probably
like-
go there.
yeah, that's like a fucking player trigger. There's a named shop. Have to fucking go there.
Two of them, two named shops.
Yeah. There was 2 named shops. I don't have the one for the armory though.
It is Shank's Fine Metals.
Oh, that's what that was about.
Yes. Well, you're welcome to decide to long rest now, if you'd like, and then go back into town and purchase some things for your journey. Will be the first long rest that, that I offer you guys in 7 weeks.
Is this the time we talk about gold? Because I don't have any,
Yeah, canonically I have 0.
at least on my
So
account.
we should have a fuck ton of gold. Everybody should have a fuck ton of gold because you looted the king's chambers. I think that we just never dispersed it all.
Yeah, I think Andrews
When-
kept track of it and
Ow, and yeah, Andrew's
lost it in
yeah.
one of his 19 notebooks.
So I'm
no
gonna-
problem.
With the exception of Vern, who would have obscene amounts of gold.
Yes.
Vern,
How much on me though?
Vern, roll a percentile die.
Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite when you roll for money.
Okay, a percentile die. What does that mean? The D100?
A D100, yeah.
Okay.
With white privilege advantage.
Yeah.
27, folks. 27.
Million.
You didn't bring a lot of money with you. You would have 2,000 gold.
Oh, you
He
know,
got
that's
rich by
fine.
everybody else bringing the money.
I was going to give you 1,000 gold for each 20% increment you get. So you were in the second block. So I'll give you 2,000.
That's fine. That's fair.
Everybody else gets 100 per.
Everybody else, I'm trying to think because you found like platinum pieces, like several platinum pieces, and a bunch of gems and diamonds and stuff.
Yeah,
Michael,
I have,
Michael Barlos, roll a D100.
All right. I'm gonna roll a D100. I'll give you 2,000 gold. Well, let's see. For the whole party, let's say for the entire party, 2,500 gold for each 20% increment. We'll do that before we roll.
That's not
Ooh,
bad.
nice.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Is that 4 increments?
This,
Mhm.
this is the last one. That's 5. That's 10.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
That'd be
5,000.
12,500 divided by
However many people.
5. Oh, so you just get 2,500 a piece.
Sweet.
Nice.
Like all of us get 2,500.
Each player gets 2,500 gold.
Oh,
Correct.
I'll take that.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
got
added
money.
to my 2,000 or no? I'm guessing not.
No.
This is the rest of you guys. Okay, so I'm,
Sorry,
I'm
Vern.
the poorest. I'm the poorest.
All right, I think this is a good time.
If
for
you
me to
ever
hop
make it
out,
back to
so
Sharvash's-
I'll,
Mhm.
recording's still going until 10, and I'll get that up tomorrow.
Okay, go ahead and hit
Alright.
your long rest too, Aaron.
Okay, cool.
We'll rest before the end of the session. Awesome. Have a good night,
All
man.
right, see you guys.
So you
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Nice.
Barlos, I have stuff in my inventory, but I don't know if I just like I pulled a Lampox, you know?
Oh yeah. What? How do you have all this stuff?
Yeah. Like just random numbers.
You have a sprig of mistletoe. Oh, that's your druidic focus.
Yeah.
Potion of
think I
healing I
used that
gave
so I
you.
can
Potion of
do,
invisibility I gave you.
Like a
Oh, I think all of this stuff is what you would start with.
Okay.
I think D&D Beyond changed how they did some things, and they automatically things that are in packs, like Adventuring Pack or Dungeoneers Pack. They just add all of that stuff automatically to your equipment now.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into your backpack, all of the small stuff is in there, but none of your equipment. So it breaks it up a little bit better for you. So you're all good.
Vern was sane in the truth chamber, correct?
Yes.
He didn't go crazy. Seth would call over to Vern. Hey, Vern, can you come here a second? I need your opinion.
And Vern very eagerly walks over to help a friend. What do you need, Teth?
And Teth is going to pull out the folded piece of paper where he was attempting to draw K6. I was attempting to draw a friend of mine in that chamber back there. Can you look at it and tell me if it is, if it makes sense? And then he's gonna keep it kind of folded and hand it over to, I almost said Trent, Vern.
Okay, I unfold the paper. I take a look at it. Like, I mean, beautiful craftsmanship here. All the
Is it
pieces
not
where
like,
they should be.
is it not like mad scribblings of an insane kill machine, or is it actually a picture?
Oh, this is gorgeous, and I hold it up, and it's like a beautiful, very detailed pencil sketch with shading and a little floral banner underneath it.
So it looks like, it does look like that, right?
That's what I see.
Okay.
And may I
Thank
just
you.
say that, if you ever wanted to retire from being an old kill machine, you would be a fantastic artist, my boy.
Thank you. I'll take that back now, please. Very, very, very daintily fold it back up and then put it in his kill pocket. Yes.
Just everything has the adjective kill for you. It's just
Yep.
This is
My
my
kill
kill
pouch.
hand.
Yeah.
My kill code. Alan will see this exchange happen, and he's going to walk up to Teth as well. He'll say, "Bit of an artist, are we?"
this guy.
I think there's an artist in everybody.
He make a performance check.
Hey, all right, performance. I'm gonna roll this in roll 20 just because I wanted to roll in roll 20. What is my performance? +5. These are performance, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just hitting this and then add +5. A dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, he is moved by that beyond measure, and he doesn't even say anything in response. It's just a little micro tear develops in the crook of his eye, and just kind of just trails about halfway down his face before he quickly wipes it away, and he will scurry back to his desk. You've made a great impression on Alan. He's a big fan of you now.
Ellen is very, very pleased.
He's Team Teth at this point, yeah.
The world is but a canvas, Alan.
Pasparan at this point is going to walk over and say something to Alan, and he will promptly walk back to his plate and head back in. So he is gone, and she will address all of you. She'll say, I have some matters to attend to in the city, but I'm sure I will see you before you head off wherever you decide to go. And she will exit as well.
After that, Eric goes over to Marwill and just sort of expresses how she surprises him. You know, knowing her more as a common worker and a servant of the casters in the capital, not knowing this side of her. So
She'll
he's
say, oh, you surprise me too, dear. Don't you know that's the best way to get people to trust you is to make them believe that you're working for them.
So then he would ask Marwill what she thinks of Alan, since he comes on strong. Is the first impression good impression, accurate impression, or is it he actually a likable guy?
My first impression of Alan was interesting. I don't think he talked the first 6 or 7 days that he was a tithe. Then he warmed up after a while. He's warm-hearted under all of that shadow.
Yet he always returns home to the dredge.
He never stays in town, never stays here.
He's
Honestly,
always
I don't know where he stays.
So still a bit of a mystery character.
It's always been his motivation, I suppose.
Gotcha.
Well, I personally am a bit exhausted. I did ride a Draco Lich today and see a god.
Among other things, yeah.
Among other stuff.
Yeah,
Is
this has all been like a day, like 17 hours.
Very
Is
physical
there,
and emotional.
is there a spot where I could set up a bedroll that would be less in people's way?
What you see is what you get, unfortunately. But you're welcome to sprawl out wherever you'd like. People sleep here all the time, so they're used to stepping over bedrolls.
There,
All right.
Is there a
Well,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if something does become of the people outside, don't hesitate to wake us.
Des will offer to keep watch for the first.
Well, I mean,
leg
Eric
of
will
the
too, because as
rest
an
here.
elf, he doesn't have to. I only need, 4 hours of meditation.
That's true.
Can't we seal this place up? Weren't we told that we could like really secure this place?
You were told that, yes.
Okay. I mean, we could still have watches, I guess, but Vern is obviously very trusting, so he'll very happily.
I'm sleeping the whole night, baby.
Yeah, he's gonna go to this chair and sit in it, and he's gonna push the other chair to put his feet up on. So he's gonna use 2 chairs for himself. And he's already asleep.
Used to living in the lap of luxury.
Uh-huh.
Cool. So Des and Eric will exit. Luna, who has not said a word to anybody yet the entire day, will go over here and sleep within this little alcove. He'll roll out a mat and go to sleep. Before he sleeps, I think Teth and Urzak probably are the only people that would see this. But he sits on his bedroll with his staff. He has kind of like a bone staff. It just levitates over his lap. And you see him just put his hands on the sides of his face. And his eyes glow purple. About 5 minutes. Then it stops, the staff drops down, and he will turn over and lay down to sleep. That's what are you
Urzak,
doing? Or either one of you. Crowbar will sleep here.
Urzak's just gonna try and be somewhere less in the way. And he will, somewhat akin to Luna, he'll perform his ritual with his sword. Say, kneel down and do a long prayer, and you know, thank Devlin and Lendis for lending him strength to get through the day's horrors.
Do you say this prayer out loud?
Yeah, it might be mumbled and hushed, but yeah, I think you would say it out loud.
You have no way of knowing this, and Teth has no way of knowing that this is related. But when you utter the name Lendis, the orb emits heat for a split second.
This thing on. Looks at it.
Hello?
that playing perfectly into what I was about to do. Because it kind of flickered for a second. So before going to sleep, which is 6 hours for Sentry's Rest, Teth is going to spend some time with the Orb of Power. And he is going to just grab it like this and put it in front of his face and then just hold it and stare into it and focus on it. He's going to try and make a connection or start to make a connection with Talos.
Make a. I'll let you choose investigation, religion, or arcana. One of the three.
All right, let's see. Investigation. Definitely Arcana.
Okay.
21.
With a 21, supposing that you use the first hour or so of your downtime just staring into the orb, you'll see that the little fissures that made up the individual fragments of the orb still exist, and you can see them shimmering inside of the orb. So it still looks like pieces of the orb fused into one. It's really interesting to look at, almost like it's almost pearlescent on the inside, and set up like a geode. So it has many individual crystals that make up these pieces of this orb. And the longer that you look at it, the more it seems to almost shift and shimmer inside by itself without moving it around. And it almost seems to make up some of the divine symbols that you would be familiar with, that are both on your body or things that you would be very familiar worshiping to. So over time, it becomes very familiarized to you.
So just like an endless sea of these.
Yeah, it's almost like it's like a divine kaleidoscope almost.
Yeah, that's fun. Teth will just let himself get lost. in the sea until he needs to go to sleep, or well,
Nice.
power down.
All right. How many people do I have here? 4, 3. Trent, roll a percentile die, please.
Um, 70.
The result that I was hoping for. Cool. Yeah, you all rest with no problems. Mara will ends up falling asleep at her desk, and you all sleep very soundly. It was quite a first day back dealing with all of this, whether you wanted to be involved in it or not. And it time passes without any incident. You wake up seemingly at a nice hour, not too early and not too late, so you're wasting your morning. And as you are waking up, Vern, you would see this person first, as everybody else is out in kind of the periphery. But this probably would actually wake you up. Similar to when Alan came through his portal, landing on the plate to your north. You can just make him out because it's still kind of dark. The lanterns have not been lit yet.
Fuck my dick.
Who is that?
A shaded figure walks in
Okay.
from the plate, coming from the cerebral realm,
I
and
knew it.
almost doesn't even notice you, Vern.
Mm-hmm.
Moves over here, gently wakes Barrowill, and they share a quick hug.
Oh.
And he takes a seat in this chair. And that's where we can end the session for tonight, unless you want to go to like fast track to the city and check out the shops, or talk to Gael. Do whatever you want.
Well, I want to talk to Gael, but I feel like that's going to be
That'd be a good everybody thing.
Yeah.
as the only person here who knows Gael. I feel like it'd be good to have everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, Eric knows him too. Eric encountered him.
Right here, Brett is back.
I mean, we could always. I don't know how other people feel, but if you had some ideas to get loot, if we could even plan it, you guys could plan it out, or I don't know how you usually do that, Barlos. But like having an idea.
So yeah,
or
that's a good question. So
just to kind
there
of
are a
speed
couple
it up.
ways. Yeah, there are a couple ways that I thought of doing it. One way is the way that we did in Electric Boogaloo, where we kind of just asked if they had things, and Michael said yes or no, and you could kind of just dump your gold on whatever you wanted, presuming that a magic shop of that nature would have most of the things you ask for. The other way is I could curate a list of specific items, and every time you go into that shop, there's like 8 items, and they're always different. Um, that's totally up to you guys. We could do one shop of each. You kind of like grab all things in one shop except for really specialized things, and then the other shop is really specialized things at random. I don't know how you all feel about those two options. As for the armory, I think that is going to be like working on stuff that you already own. You'd be able to buy like basic sets of armor and basic weapons there as well. It wouldn't be, you don't really specialize in a lot of magical weapons. So if you have something that you want to upgrade in a specific way, I always encourage that. So I would love to to have those types of things come out of that shop. So that's more of like you guys propose an idea and I'll make it happen. Whatever you want to do at the armory. But what do you guys think about magic buying? Because I also agree sometimes it can get really clunky and take a long time, and then we end up spending an entire session asking the shopkeeper if they have specific potions. What do you guys think?
I personally like the idea of doing random stuff, and then I feel like if
Okay.
there's something that a player is like really jonesing for, they can like request, an acquisition
Yeah.
type thing.
I'll check the back.
Or like, I mean, they could even like order it. You said they like, they're well known for getting stuff and rotating in and out. So
Mm-hmm.
I like that too.
Okay. I will start curating some lists. I'm thinking because it's a relatively small shop. The map that I made for it is like, I don't know, like 20 feet by 15 feet. So it's really tiny, owned by one person. So it would make sense for her to carry only like 8 to 10 items at a time, depending on the size. And so you could, anytime you stop back here in the city, you could always use this as a main hub to come back and just see what she has.
I
And then-
always like random stuff as well.
Great. Perfect.
I just
I think
want
it
there to be.
inspires.
I want there to be commoners in the queue who are judging us for what we're buying and how long we take. They're like
Fucking Karens.
sighing in the back.
I was waiting for that javelin of lightning.
Yeah.
You
I
bought it right out from under me.
Yeah. He just took it right out of my hands.
Because that would be like my. Okay, so true story. I bought a 12-pack of Mountain Dew. I just mentioned to the cashier that the sign for the price was wrong. I said it was $1.35 on the sign. And I'm like, there's no way I thought that a 12-pack was $1.35. But anyway, I just told it to her. She's like, "Oh, we'll honor it." I'm like, "Are you serious?
Whoa.
12-pack for $1.35? You can't even like
Jeez.
buy a 20-ounce for that." And
Yeah,
anyway,
that's like one can in a vending machine is $1.25.
and so this lady behind me, she's just like throughout the whole I'm like, "What? I'm getting a good deal."
Yeah.
Fuck off, dude. Another
think
question that
the-
I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask this with everybody, but I'll ask you guys here, and it'll be on the recording so they can think about it. I think that I'm going to do prologues like the one today. Anytime you find an orb, it'll be a different experience every time. What was your opinion of this prologue? Was it too playy? Was it too prologue-y? Was it? It's the first time I've tried to do it this way, so I would love some feedback.
I like the fact that it was like trying to get like engage everybody, right? Like kind of trying to kickstart the whole brain juices, right? And then it eventually shifted in this case because it was an orb. It shifted to a specific person, right?
Yeah.
Kind of at a certain point, which is kind of like the prologues were like, kind of like that, where they focused on it, the following a specific individual, and then the stuff that was going on around them, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of kept with that theme, but then it was focusing on real time. In this case,
Right.
with the orb power.
That's the only thing I think I was worried about was making it directly linked to what you did, like a true bridge from last time to this time. I don't know if it took us out of the story enough to be considered a prologue. Like it was just a cutscene, I think. So maybe I won't do it exactly like that. But
yeah,
I did not.
I would say that was the only thing that I thought was like, I mean, it was cool, but it wasn't. It didn't feel like prologue. It just felt like playing the game.
Yeah. Cool.
There
Or
was
like
no-
a
no
special
missing-
event from the orb.
Yeah,
like,
it's a quick time event. Yeah.
Yeah.
One other thing, we have 3 minutes. One other thing that I'm thinking about doing, maybe not super soon, but definitely within, assuming that you will follow this orb arc and also go on a couple side quests along the way. I'm assuming you'll find other things that you want to do too. I'm guessing, and this is conservative because DMing takes twice as long to do anything that you think it'll take. But like the next like 8 sessions or 9 sessions, I think I'm gonna have the prologue be like a full out level 20 fight. And I'm just gonna make 6 characters at level 20, and you guys, I'm just gonna assign characters to you.
Saying
Ooh.
I get to play Saul.
No, but yes, later.
Yeah.
Yes, later. I thought about that, and maybe it'll come around. I don't know how that would tie in. My thought is to have it be a true prequel, and that wouldn't make sense for those characters to be level 20 that far in the past, as far back as I want to go. But maybe I'll just say that they can travel through time, and you can play Saul at level 20.
No,
So I would love to.
I'm playing
I
the
would love to
character.
put you guys back in those characters because those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what? How would you feel about that? Because it would technically be a prologue that's fully playable, not in these characters at all, in a completely different setting, and only really the ending would tie back to this story, and then we would shift back to wherever you left off the last week. Is that something that you would like to do, or is that just a nuisance, unnecessary?
I think it
I
sounds
think
cool.
I think
I'd
it
wanna
would be
try it.
very cool. As long as combat takes normally, I feel like level 20 character, like playing a fresh level 20 character in combat is going to take twice as long.
Yeah.
So I would just think about that. I don't know how much of like I could see it being an hour or 2,
Yeah.
depending on the
That's
challenge of the
what
combat. So that's up to you.
Just
I
one
would.
turn every session.
Let's try it once.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
I guess the idea would be that I would make them all in advance. Like come up with the idea, make them all in advance, give the characters to you like several weeks beforehand so you can look at what you're able to do. And then hopefully by the time I spring it on you, everybody's at least competent enough with the characters that they can go at an okay pace. Um, Also,
I want
I
mine
don't think that.
blind, Barlos. I want you to give it to me with the minute before.
Okay,
No other
I will
way.
do that. I will do that. And that's what I thought about originally. I was like, what kind of mind fuck would it be? And I'd be like, today's prologue is interactive. Here are your new characters. You're playing these characters at level 20 for the next 2 hours. Surprise.
I mean, starting off the session with you have one question to ask the god that you've prayed to for 300 years was the kickstart.
Would you okay, so maybe I misunderstood you. Would you plan on doing this like in 8 weeks or for 8 weeks?
Oh no, like in 8 weeks. It would be a one-time thing.
Oh,
Okay.
one-time thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah, it would be like
Yeah.
you would get the characters and they would play into the story of that prologue only.
Mhm.
So the prologue in real time would take about the same amount of time as any of the other ones, but it would just be combat based, involving you guys. It wouldn't just be narration.
Honestly, I'm with Billy too. Just fucking spring it on us.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll just do that for everybody. How do you guys feel about that, Trent and Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Gonna be dropped into the deep end for with a level 20 character. How would you all feel if they were all homebrew subclasses? Nothing from licensed content.
That's fun.
Sure.
Let's do that.
Yep, let's do it.
Cool. Start working on those tomorrow.
It's like the
Great.
one time you're gonna want to roll a 1 on initiative.
I know. Right.
Fuck!
I don't know what I'm doing. Pages
I'm
and
gonna punch
pages
it.
of bullshit. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, we're at 9:00. Great session, guys.
Yeah,
Sorry
thanks,
that we
guys.
had to break for 40 minutes in the middle. I apologize for that again.
That's okay.
All good.
All right. I will see you guys next Monday.
So yeah.
All right.
Carlos,
Bye.
quick
See you
question.
guys.